Hi, I'm Chris. This is the photograph that my client's brought in that she'd like me to reproduce that hairstyle. So we're going to just try and film it a little bit today, just to educate you and also so that my staff can look back and see what they've done. Okay, so I'm going to section the hair. I'll come back to you in a moment. The hair is shaped in at the neckline, so I'm not going to take any length away, but what I'm going to do is take the volume out of the hair here. And then I'm going to work my way around, bringing the hair out at a 90-degree angle, and I'm going to take length off here, but I'm leaving the outline, so the outline of the hair is going to be quite long for now. So for now, I'm just going to layer it all the way around the head here. So I just said I'm going to take out the length from here, so I'm going to let that drop. We don't want it too short in the neckline. All I'm doing is taking weight out, a weight line out, all the way through the head there, and I'm using a razor. Now, the hair is fine but quite thick, so the razor will be perfectly okay on that. Just taking it out gently. This is, if you're a student, this is what you would in college call a uniform layer cut, or if you're in a salon owner, maybe call it a round layer cut. But basically, I'm just layering the hair all the way around. My client, Sam, has had a graduated bob for a long period of time now, and she just wants to try something different. So I've just gone through roughly with the razor at 90-degree angle like that, and then when that comes down, what we've got left, we've just got a nice choppy effect. Now what I will do, not yet, but I will texturize and customize the hairstyle later on, and I'll just take little bits out of there. I might take a little bit out of there. That allows the haircut to be worn behind the ear or partially in front of the ear, etc. So we can wear it out, we can wear it behind, we can wear it however you want. Okay, nice and choppy, like the client's haircut there. You can see it's a little bit below the earlobe there, and it can be pushed behind a little bit, or it can be left down like that, and just nice and soft. So I'm going to work my way around through the head, the rest of the head now, and I will come back to you in a minute. The basic outline of the haircut there, no length off whatsoever at the moment, just gone round 90 degrees, taken out the bulk, left all the edges like that. I'm going to leave those right till the very end. However, I'm going to just start on the neckline a little bit using the corner of the razor, not the main blade, just the edges razor like that, and you're just going to go down and hold it with your fingers, and you're just going to pull out bits of hair like that, scooping it out all the way around, just like that. And we'll just leave that now. A lot more of this work's going to be done, and like most haircuts these days, we're doing this wet, and then what we'll do, we'll texturize it a bit more, and we'll do a bit more customizing on the haircut when it's dry. So I'm just sort of going to show you in stages. So that's basically got rid of that bulk there. Just taking out this top box here, we're going to be working on that next. I've taken another section, horseshoe section, all the way around, and round about 2 to 3 inches deep. When you're working with the razor, you do not need lots of minute little sections. It is precision, but it's not as precise as club cutting. Okay, so you must remember to lift the hair right up to 90-degree angle, so everything comes out, and up. Okay, it's no good bringing it down here. Bring it up, bring it out, and put your blade in at the length you want. Slide, taking away length and bulk at the same time, but it leaves the hair on the ends nice and choppy, as if you texturized it with scissors. So it just gives you a nice choppy effect. The kind of thing that you could do yourself with a point cut, or you could blunt cut it first and then point cut it. With a razor, you're pretty well doing that all in one go. Okay, so again, pretty straightforward. That 2 or 3 inch section, work my way through. I am working to a guideline. You may think I'm not, but I'm actually making sure, as I'm checking now, that we don't have one side longer than the other. And then that will, of course, if you imagine that when it's blow dried and that's pulled down and it's soft, or it's pushed behind the ear, you're starting to get the basis and the build of a nice choppy, sexy little hairstyle. So I'm going to come back to you in a moment. I'm going to take out this top box now, split it into two, bring it up, razor cut it up, and then leave the fringe out, and we're going to give it long and sexy through there. Then we're going to dry the hair and straighten it, but I'll come back to that in a minute. Let's just show you. I'm going to take that top box, top section out, there like that. And I do have a guideline there, look, so I'm going to pick up my guideline, lift the hair up. Now you can either, when you're cutting the top there, you can either start with your blade in there, or you can reverse your blade, put it on the inside, which just takes it out like that, which is a really good way of doing it. Okay, so now becomes very important. You have to, in hairdressing speak, over-graduate the hair. We're going to bring it back. If we lift the hair up and cut it here, then it's going to be far too short and too thin here. So I'm going to start now bringing the hair back, cutting it so that when it goes forward, it's heavier and longer. I want to keep all the outline nice and long, and I want to keep the fringe reasonably heavy so that I can texturise it and alter it later on. I don't want to do too much of the fringe right now at this point in the haircut. Okay, so you start to see the basics. This was a bob, or one length bob down to there, a graduated bob in the neckline, so we're taking out the weight here, taking out the weight there, left most of the hairline, took a little bit off. When I cut it through the sides, it did take a little bit of length off. The fringe was sweeping over to one side, so what I've just done is brought the hair up and back, cut it on the surface at the front there and let it drop. So what I've got there now is lots of length and I'm going to repeat the process on the other side, so when it drops down then we can sweep that across, and the client will of course, I will just show you the picture again briefly. My model Sam is going to show you, so if you see the picture again, I'm going to leave the fringe to drop down there, and then we're going to drag it across to the side there. I'm actually going to leave the fringe a little bit longer than this picture. So 90 degrees, uniform layer cut all the way through. Obviously not too short on the top. Nothing worse than having the middle of the hair cut too short and then coming out and it's like a shuttlecock effect, looks awful. So we're going to gain, when we dry this, you'll gain height here. We're going to make it nice and choppy. Put products on it, we're going to leave it nice and straggly in the neck. I've actually still got the original bob shape in there, which I'm going to work on in a few minutes. But as you can see, by bringing it back away from the face, I've now got Sam with a nice long fringe that I can work on. I've also got lots of options left with the sides because I've left them long. I'm going to take a little bit off of those and off that there, but I'm going to blow dry the hair now in a minute, and then I'm going to blow dry the fringe, straighten it out, and then when I've done that, I'm going to come back to you. We won't film the blow drying because it's nothing more boring than watching somebody blow drying. So we'll blow dry and then we'll work on the hair. What I will show you, however, before I do that, is that when you do a razor cut, always go through it with your scissors afterwards, and just to check it, to see if there's any exception of the long ends, and you can just point cut those a little bit. Just go through it, just make sure you haven't missed a bit and suddenly left something that's really long, so you can even just ever so slightly cut the ends. Not too much, because that defeats the object of using your razor in the first place. So just go through it like that. Is there a little bit there that's a bit on the long side? Because after all, you are supposed to be working to a guideline. And some people that use a razor just use it as an excuse to get the hair off quickly and easily. Now you see I've got some long ends there, so I'll just take those out easily like that. I'm working my way around, that's all great. So just pick it up. So if you're a student, you're using your razor, it's like sculpting. It's like a sculptor takes a piece of stone and a chisel and a hammer, and then they start chipping bits of the stone or the marble away, and gradually they build up a shape. Well, you're doing that with a razor, so you are chipping away at the hair, you are sculpting and creating a shape with your razor, and then all I'm doing now is just going back through it and just putting some little touches to it there. So if you're a student, you bring your hand over and you point cut, turn your hand over. If you're watching this at home and you're not a hairdresser, and you're thinking of doing this at home yourself, Good luck. Just before, I know I said I was going to blow dry and that's going to come back, but just before I do that, I'm just going to put a bit of angle into the fringe, and to do that, I'm going to just pull the hair away from this direction. Its fringe is going that way, and I'm just going to go in with my scissors, resting on my fingers like that, just pointing it a little bit. So that takes off a little bit of length. Bring it across. This is, you will do all your angle fringes this way. You bring them over, whether it's short and choppy like this or it's long hair, bring them this way and then take them back that way, and it just slots across. Right, moving on. I've blow dried Sam's hair with volume on top. She likes volume. The hair is pretty thick, so I'm going to be texturising it shortly and straightening it. If you're going to blast dry your hair, at least blast dry it in the direction that you want the hair to go. Don't blast it all over here, blast it in the way that you want the hair to go. That way it lays better and it'll be a lot easier for you to finish the hairstyle afterwards. So for now, if without straightening, and I've got some more cutting to do. I'm going to take some length out here, I'm going to take some length out here, put more shaping through there. I'm going to texturise the hair. At the moment my model Sam still feels the hair looks a little bit on the long side, but as I explained to Sam, she can always come back in and have some more cut off. I really don't want to take it too short in the first instance. You can always come back and do some more. And the neckline, if you blow dry and leave it like this, it's a bit too mumsy looking, a bit too round looking, a bit old fashioned looking. So what we're going to do, we're not going to get rid of the height and the volume there. I'm going to straighten it out a little bit softly around the edges, straighten it out a little bit through the sides there and through the fringe, not a lot through the fringe. If you straighten the fringe too much, it won't sweep to one side. What a surprise. Okay, so people always think that the sweeping fringe, oh, well let's straighten it, but if you straighten it, it's just going to come down. So what I normally do with a big round brush, I just blow it over to one side with the big round brush and smooth it out with the brush and leave it alone. Okay, so don't over straighten the hair, but I've straightened the sides out there because I'm going to be cutting this area. I'm going to be carving through here. I'm going to be carving through here, and I'm going to create a shape at the sides that comes up there, and I'm going to be carving through there. And what it does, it picks out all these long bits, which eventually, in a couple of minutes, I'm going to take off. If you're going to straighten the top, just straighten it out a little bit on the ends, just very briefly through the ends, pick it up like that. Don't straighten it at the roots, you just blow dried it to give it all that volume, put all that blow dry lotion on, and it's going to be absolute waste of time and useless if you just straighten it too much on the top. You should like volume, and what we are going to do shortly, when we've finished it, we're going to point cut it, chop into it, take a little bit of bulk out, because Sam's got fine hair, but it's very thick, fine hair. So we don't want it to look too big and too fluffy. So just straighten it out a little bit at home, as wherever you are, you're doing this. Leave that volume there. Don't worry if you can't reach on the back of your head and straighten short hair. So blow dry as best you can and leave the back alone. Don't try straighten the back because you're not going to reach it anyway, and you'll probably burn yourself if you do. So, and then I'm just going to finish the straightening. Take 1 second to do that. Then I'm now going to chop into it, which I'll come back to you in a moment. I'll show you how I do that. Okay, so I'm just going to support my scissors with my fingers like that. Open the blades up, and I'm going to go in and squeeze and carve out like a claw, really. Checking it out. What I'm doing is I'm taking length off at the same time. And you go back and do it. This is not going to be the finished length. This is just going to be the start of the finished length. And we're going to work our way up like that. And that bit there that was a bit long in that corner there. And then we're going to come around the sides here. Now, I want to come up this way. So I'm going to start up here. Now I'm going to carve out like that. Just squeezing and running down the hair at the same time, like that. And I'm going to go like that. And I'm going to go like that, there we go. And you begin to develop a bit of a shape there. I'm going to continue that up the sides here, carving it out. and if necessary just pick that up and just give it a little tweak like that. But what we're not doing is, we're not running a straight line down, and we're not running a straight line around the face there. So what we have now is we have that shape there, which is pretty cool. And the hair is pretty long behind the ear, but I'm going to do that. I'm going to leave it long behind the ear because a lot of these kind of haircuts, particularly in older ladies, the shape up the round there is really short there, really short there. That's not cool. It's aging. Okay, great on on an older lady who wants it nice and neat and easy. So we're carving that again. We can see this area of the hair is a bit thick here, so we're carving that out. Just removing that, and we're going like that down there. And those bits are too long, and that would annoy the. That was a bit sort of Ziggy Stardust. David Bowie, who's just recently departed, this wonderful David Bowie has just departed our earth. That would have been a bit of a Ziggy Stardust where it was really long there, tucked behind the ear. But this is Sam, not Ziggy. And stop laughing, Sam. Okay, so there, look. That is better. Look at that now. And then we look at the other side. Again, that's what we had a minute ago. Okay? And that's just carving out. We've got a sexy look there. We can push it behind the ear. We can partly put it behind the ear. We can put it all behind the ear. We can do what we want with it. And we'll have a look at that in a minute. So I'm going to just do the other side now. And I'll come back to you in a minute. So, sliced out both sides. There, like that, nice. I'm just going to show you the same thing, but with the fringe. I like the length of the fringe, it's really nice. And I'm just going to go through the fringe very carefully. Just miss a bit, cut a piece like that, miss a bit. It's a bit like if any of you, those of you watching do knitting, it's a bit like knit one, purl one. Knit a bit, miss a bit, knit a bit, miss a bit, knit one, purl one. So we're doing that with the fringe. Roll that off a nose, there we go. Nothing funny about having hair all over your nose. So it's just to break that fringe up like that. We might even call that the knit one, purl one fringe. That would be a good idea. Coming back in a moment to texturise the hair. I've just taken out all I want in the fringe really. And don't forget, you're going to be using product, so you can break it up a lot more by using product. So what I'm doing now is just going back in and texturising the top. Now, if you're a student watching this, you over-texturise. Most hairdressers over-texturise. They get carried away, they get giddy. It might look okay when the client walks out the salon, but when that client gets up in the morning and tries to do her own hair, there's absolutely nothing left in the head. You've taken all the heart out of the haircut, you've taken all the volume and body out of the haircut, so she's left with something that sits too close to her head, and you might think it looks good because you're busy point cutting, texturising, showing off your incredible skills, and it looks good to the client, she thinks you're good. But when she gets up in the morning, tries to do her own hair, you've taken too much out. So be careful. So be sensible. Texturise the hair. If you point cut it like that, you're basically not taking much out. You're just doing the ends, which you've already done because your razor, if you look at that, it's all nice and choppy and broken up anyway. So you don't need that. So you're better off just going in, holding the hair low down and slicing out like that. And just creating a little bit more of a layer. Also, by having a shorter underneath layer like that, you also give the hair volume. So that, slicing through like that, just a little bit underneath there like that, in with your blades, and you close the blades and you lift. That just breaks it up, creates a slightly shorter underneath layer, so that when we put product on the hair, it's going to sit up and it's going to be choppy. Right, so I'm going to get product now. I'll finish this and I'll come back to you in a minute. I'm not a big fan of heavy, sticky, greasy oil finishing products. A lot of finishing products are too heavy, too greasy. Don't like them, they're too sticky. Yeah, it's nice clean hair. So what I use the Catwalk. I don't work for 2G, but that's what I use. And it's slow drying, and I like that, so I can manipulate it, I can work it with my fingers. So just a light spray along the edges there. Put your hand over the client's eyes if you're a learner. Don't blind your client, they don't like it, and they do tend to stop coming. So just make sure you So put her in the eye hospital. Work your way around. And just the same again at this side, break it up. So that if you've put those nice little carving effects in there, you want to be able to see it, so you get that broken up at the sides. And then Sam's going to show you in a minute what she does with it. I've shaped it around her face, but off camera while we were not filming, she straight away pushed it behind her ears. So she's going to do that for you in a minute. Another little tip. So we're looking at that, pretty well that's my vision of what we were setting out to be. We're going to show you the picture that we've actually adapted it considerably, or I have. Little hint for you, if you're a hairdresser watching this, don't wear your Christmas present that you got when you're cutting blonde hair, because your black woolly sweater that you got for Christmas, because it really, blonde hair and black woolly sweaters don't go together. And Sam, just do what you normally do the side for me, and let's have it how you would go home. So your client, you know your client's going to go home and tweak it. So what you do, you tell them, you say, right, okay, look, this is my vision of it, this is what you can do. But you can also go home and you can push it behind your ear like that, which is she's created another look right there and then. Look, it suits, she's got a lovely face. She's got another look there, which I'm happy to do. And what you tell your clients, you say, look, even if they want to play with the hair before they leave the salon, say, hey, there's the hairspray, there's the section, there's the mirror. If you want to play with your hair, do it. Don't just impose your version of the hairstyle on the client and then think that she has to wear it like that forever. We're turning around, the neckline is soft. I didn't really, to be honest with you, this is the original neckline from the graduated bob that I had when she started. I've left it a little bit choppy. I could make it choppier, but then I don't want it to sort of come all wispy and turn out. I've not over straightened it. I've left it messy at the back. We could make it bigger than this. We could do all sorts of things with it. But really, that's it. So I'm Christopher from the Cutting and Colour Room in Bradford. And if this does go onto Facebook, or if we go onto YouTube, or wherever this goes, probably in the bin. If it goes anywhere else, now you know who's done the hair. And this is my model Sam. It's not a training video, it's just something that we did for a bit of fun. And hey, we hope you like it. Thank you, bye. Right, so we did Sam's hair a few minutes ago, and I have a saying in the salon which we believe in, which is that if you are not completely happy about your hair, please tell me before you leave the salon, not your friends, because I can deal with it, your friends can't, okay? So we had a chat with Sam, and we said, okay, how do you feel about your hair? She liked it, she loved the front, but she felt it was, I'd blow dried it with volume on purpose. She felt it was a bit too big. I'd also, because during the haircut she was nervous about the length of her hair, I decided to leave the neckline fairly thick. However, we've recut it because she prefers the neckline to be shaped in, and we've left it, as you can see, nice and choppy, a little bit flatter on top, not quite as big and wild. So it's just it's nice, it looks lovely. It's a different take on Sam's hair. The message about all of this is listen to your client, find out before they leave the salon, don't let them find out for themselves at home. Okay? If you want a happy client, you have to listen, and that's what we do at the Cutting and Colour Room. Okay? Thanks. Hopefully you enjoyed all this.
Like dolphins can swim.